Joined in the studio now by Yoav Borowitz, head of sports at the Israeli Public Broadcast Corporation. Khan in the studio with us. Yoav, thanks for being with us.
Hi, David.
First of all, the under-19, this is Israel's national under-19 soccer team. You're qualifying for this Final Four, essentially, if I have this right here. The team finished second in their group. They just lost, however, to England, but still were able to advance. I mean, what do you say about their prospects now going into next match?
Okay, next match is on Tuesday, semifinals against France. Now, France is considered to be the top team in this under-19 Euro. France, let's mention, are also the World Cup holders, the world champions in senior soccer. France is the best producer of soccer talent in the world. So it's going to be very difficult for Israel against France in the semifinals. But doesn't matter, because so far the success was so tremendous. You know, first of all, advancing to this Euro under-19 in Slovakia, only 8 teams. It's only the 3rd time ever that Israel is able to do it. Then advancing to the Final Four, to the semifinals, which also makes sure that next year in the Mundialito, the World Cup, the under-20 World Cup in Indonesia, Israel will be one of the top 24 national teams in the world. Now, this is the first time that Israel is advancing to the World Cup of youth soccer, so it's a great achievement. But against France on Tuesday, it's not going to be easy.
But you're saying there's a chance?
There is a chance. You know, the teams actually a few weeks ago, they played in 2 exhibition matches before the Euro, and both times it ended 1-1. So actually, there is a chance, but France are considered to be the favorites.
Yeah, I mean, but just looking at the sheer accomplishment that already is making it here, what does it say for the future, even the next 10 years of Israeli soccer talent right now?
This is the big question, because we don't know. Many times in youth soccer, you have players that are great players at 17, 18, 19. Then not all of them become great pros. On the other hand, you have late bloomers. You have guys who you never heard of at 18, 19, 20, and then they're becoming amazing at 21, 22, 23. So this is a big unknown. But if we're looking at the Israeli talent, we can definitely detect some significant talented players there. Above all, Oscar Gloch, the 18-year-old kid, the second striker of Maccabi Tel Aviv. He already played with the senior team of Maccabi Tel Aviv, one of the top teams in Israel. And he scored a few goals, and he's really, really good. Now, a lot of European clubs are looking at him. Also, a lot of scouts are there in Slovakia in this Euro, and a lot of teams will actually want to purchase him, but Maccabi Tel Aviv will demand at least 5 or 6 million euros. It's a lot of money for a young 18-year-old Israeli player, but he's been really good in this Euros. Now we have another player called Tai Abed, another striker who plays for the youth team of PSV Eindhoven, the great Dutch club. So he plays in Holland in a very, very distinctive, prestigious youth team. So you have Abed, you have Gloch, you have an Arab player, Ahmad Salman, a 17, 18-year-old kid from Hapoel Jerusalem who's very talented. You have some also good players playing in the defense. So you have some good players. This is why they made it all the way to the top 8, then to the Final Four. So obviously, but the question now is whether the senior teams, the pro teams, will give them the chance to play and also the chance to develop. And, you know, it also means sometimes to fail and to deal with failure, because the transition from youth soccer to the senior teams is very, very difficult. This is why we need patience with those guys, but you need to give them the opportunities, the playing time. This is the most important thing.
Well, it's a good opportunity for them to shine, at least on this world stage. You touch on an interesting point. I mean, the point about getting into the World Cup, the under-20 World Cup in Indonesia next year. How does Israel look to be set to navigate that in terms of diplomatically? I mean, there's no relationship.
This is very interesting, because Indonesia is a Muslim country that has no diplomatic relations with Israel.
It on them now.
But we have heard in the last few years that there is diplomatic warming up between Israel and Indonesia. The team will have no problems, you know, going there and playing there. They'll have great security. But also now with Qatar, you know, Israel doesn't have official diplomatic relations with Qatar, the host of the World Cup. But not only the Israeli team is not playing in the World Cup, but thousands of Israelis fans will be allowed to go to Qatar and watch the World Cup. So I think also it's going to be very interesting to see whether Indonesia allows Israelis fans to come and follow the games next year.
That's, you know,
and the
part
summer.
of the story for Israel qualifying in these tournaments. Whether it be Qatar just going to visit it or to compete, but and still in that under-20 World Cup What would you give this team's chances there? Are they a real chance to compete?
I think they have a pretty decent chance to make it to the top 16. Maybe even to the top 8, but it's going to be very, very difficult. But you know, this team defies expectations all along. You know, nobody expected them to get to the Euros. Nobody expected them to advance to the semifinals. We beat Austria 4-2. They draw 2-2 against Serbia, losing just 1-0 to England. So this team, you know, they're a bunch of winners, and hopefully they'll continue to succeed and even do great in the World Cup in Indonesia.
We'll be watching. This next game is Tuesday night, right?
Tuesday night.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.